I've just gone through Starmer's 14,000-word essay, which gratefully has only turned out to be 11,500. Thank heavens for small mercies. So you don't have to, and after much strong coffee to last the distance, and boy was it needed, it can be summed up as gift the rich and grift the rest. Here's my takedown of it and him. The foreword is not usually something containing anything of note, but starting the document with reference to a contribution-based society is one we've heard before, and if you're disabled or a carer, it is not something that you want to hear. The biggest laugh here, though, he has the gall to propose 10 principles. Yeah, 10 principles, 10 pledges even, as a new agreement between the British public and the government. Good God, pick me up off the floor. I'm laughing so hard, my ribs hurt. 10 principles. Now, we've definitely heard this one before, haven't we? And look how that turned out. You broke every last one of them, didn't you, Keir? Dirty little liar. You got some bloody nerve pulling this stunt again. But what promises is he making this time that he hopes you're going to believe? Number one, we will always put hardworking families and their priorities first. Define hardworking, Keith. I'm an unpaid carer for 2 disabled people, and I try and supplement that as part of an alternative media. I work hard, but not conventionally. Am I, or people like me and my family, to be supported or demonized? Your forward content about a contribution-based society will scare 10 million potential voters who happen to be disabled. They've been attacked for over a decade through no fault of their own. Now, Labour created social security. The ethos of it has always been to provide support at point of need, not based on what they can contribute. This is too vague and will terrify many, though his next pledge might offer some clarity. Number two, if you work hard and play hard, you should be rewarded fairly. This one might as well have been said by George Osborne. It's a rewording of his Shirkers versus workers mantra, and again pits those in work against those who can't, for whatever reason, when Labour should be bringing all people together. In fact, as author Alex Nuns had spotted, the words, "so you are rewarded for working hard and doing the right thing," came straight out of David Cameron's 2015 manifesto. Awfully similar words. But Keir Starmer is a damn Tory, and again sows division where he should be uniting people, and echoing Cameron-era Tory governments shows that's where he wants to be, as Boris Johnson has dragged his party further right. Tory lightism with a dash of attack the unemployed. I'm sure Shadow Chancellor Rachel, tougher on benefits than the Tories Reeves, will love it. Number three, people and businesses are expected to contribute to society as well as receive. Again, it's Shirkers versus workers, but interesting that businesses are lumped in here too. Are small and medium-sized businesses that are struggling going to be dumped by a fantasy Starmer government too? It does beg the question, doesn't it? Number four, your chances in life should not be defined by the circumstances of your birth. Hard work and how you contribute should matter. You're probably wondering by this point whether he needed to make it 10 principles, really, since so far each of these has been a reflection of the ones that have come before it. And I am too, frankly. Again, it's contribute, contribute, contribute. What are you going to do for us rather than what we, the government, can do for you? 5, families, communities, and the things that bring us together must once again be put above individualism. Keith, have you checked the mirror, you utter narcissist? Because you're the worst offender for this. You're purging members like the clappers to entrench yourself. You purge delegates to try and rig conference in your own interests. You divided the party constantly to suit yourself and are desperate to push through rule changes to block a challenge to your leadership, despite all the trade unions coming out against it. But you're still going to bring these plans to the NEC tomorrow, by the look of it, out of sheer desperation, knowing Akehurst and the vile right of the NEC will no doubt support it. You put yourself before party for nigh on 18 months, Keir, and you're still doing it. 6, the economy should work for citizens and communities. It is not good enough to surrender to market forces. Nice platitude, but that's all it is. This is a statement, not an intention, and actually contradicts the messaging of your other principles, which, given the hypocrisy that historically has been associated with you, means you're breaking at least some of these already. And given how desperate you are for donors to keep Labour afloat amidst your purging, you really do need to be looking at Keith through rose-tinted glasses to believe there's anything in this. 7, the role of government is to be a partner in private enterprise, not stifle it. What a load of bollocks that is. Government is there to serve people and society, not the vested interests of corporations. It is there to ensure they pay their fair way, as everyone else does. It is there to ensure our basic rights are upheld and guaranteed, and is a democratic representation of the people. Where is the demand for contributions from private enterprise here? There's no mention of it. Is it just the working class that you have to prove their worth to you whilst you partner up with your big business buddies and hope they donate to you or something? It's disgusting stuff. 8, the government should treat taxpayer money as if it were its own. The current level of waste are unacceptable. This shows a complete lack of understanding of how the economy works, since it implies tax take is what the country is run on. It isn't. Anytime the government needs money, it prints it. A few taps on a Bank of England keyboard and hey presto, £37 billion for Dido Harding or whatever else they're spending money on. It's called quantitative easing. We pay taxes, sure, but the money the government takes out of our pay packets was created by the government to start with. Nobody else made it, did they? Nobody else is allowed to. They'd be locked up if they did. It's called counterfeiting. And any credible economist will tell you all money always belongs to the government anyway. We just get to hold on to it for a while, spend it as we see fit, which supports the economy through spending activity. Taxation is just a cycle completing itself and returning to the government, hopefully with interest on its initial investments, which is how the economy grows. And it's past time politicians stop muddying the waters here because they're conning us with language like this. But given recent news that Ed Miliband and Charlie Falconer are having to explain economics to Starmer, it's quite possible he just hasn't got a clue what he's talking about here. Number 9, the government must play its role in restoring honesty, decency and transparency in public life. God's sake, Keith, look in the mirror for something other than doing your hair. 10 pledges busted. They were lies which saw you elected Labour leader. Decency isn't purging your membership, chasing after donors and trying to rig Labour's internal structures in your own favour. And transparency only applies to your list of policies because there's none to bloody see. And number 10, finally, we are proudly patriotic, but we reject the divisiveness of nationalism. Just go and shove a flag up your arse, man. Patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrel. A country that treats everyone fairly is one to be proud of, but you'll never lead one, even in the remote chance you'd ever be elected to lead, because you don't mean a damn word you say. It's just a list of meaningless promises of more austerity and of privatization as he sets himself up to be a partner with big business, whilst everyone else gets judged on what they can contribute. A return to the language of shirkers versus workers, which has led to so much abuse of vulnerable and disabled people, and not a single bloody policy in sight anywhere in this document. He talks of being in lockdown for 17 months and are now tentatively returning to normal. No, we aren't. Whilst he has for 17 months supported every stupid, unsafe, unscientific move the Tories have made, we are again seeing cases rise and around 200 people every day are dying again. Normal? Is this good enough for you? It's not for me. You talk of great loss, but only in the context of people being kept apart from each other. You talk of the loss of life as friends and neighbours. Well, how is this normal then? You literally contradicted yourself in the first 2 paragraphs of this boiled rice blandness of a document. Every death is a preventable tragedy, as other countries have proven. You still support the government's incompetence in dealing with this. It is shameful. You talk about this pamphlet, as you're calling it, essay as others have, described it as explaining how we use the spirit that got us through the pandemic going forwards. The pandemic is still ongoing. Biggest elephant in the room, and you're drawing a line under it. Just brilliant. No alternative to dealing with this crisis has ever been put forward by you, and you don't seem intent on starting now, and it is pathetic. Apparently over the summer you were able to get out and do what you wanted to do most as Labour leader and take your ideas to the public, whilst we were finally able to do all the things we enjoy whilst infecting each other again. Shame you couldn't share any of these ideas with the rest of us, staring awkwardly at random people on the beach and getting thrown out of a pub are your standout moments. Of course, much of this document is all about him. His dad, the toolmaker, on the shop floor, except he wasn't. He owned a tool-making business, and you aren't working class, Keir. You're the epitome of middle class. The obligatory mention that he was former director of public prosecutions because he, for some reason, cannot stop reminding us of this twice, as it happens. And for many of us, we might wish that perhaps he still was, and not destroying the Labour Party in any sensible opposition to this worst of all governments. And then it's just page after page after page of what historical Labour governments he had nothing to do with had done, along with what the Tories did after, much of which he has supported. Platitudes towards the NHS and the crisis it's in, along with failures on climate change. Well, we had a fantastic policy on climate change where green jobs the country over were planned and every government department decision had to have a green agenda at its heart. But we rolled that back to vagaries because it came from the Corbyn era. Your pledge to the health services after the Tories outdid your proposed pay rise, yet thanks to inflation still means a pay cut for them. You won't work to remove the private sector from healthcare either, but plan to keep working with them, underlined by promising to build an effective partnership of state and private sector. NHS privatisation will continue should you ever leave the country, and any thoughts of nationalising anything are dead. Starmer says Labour's vision of government working with the private sector will make a difference, but it won't. It's a continuation of 40 years of neoliberalism, of keeping things as they are, and that doesn't work for ordinary working class people, and we know it these days. You speak of community, family and country as if they are not conservative ideas, reminiscent of the family country work slogan of the Vichy France government that collaborated with the Nazis, as Squawk Box picked up on, reinforcing the widely held view there's nothing left-wing or socialist about you. The word we only appears 300 times in this document out of 11,500 words. Democracy gets mentioned just once. Business gets mentioned 29 times. Policy gets mentioned 5 times, but only in the context of criticising those of the government whilst putting nothing forward himself. Words such as disability, socialism, nationalisation, capitalism, public ownership, youth, or Labour members even are not mentioned once. He even had the temerity to mention the back of the Labour membership card. But forget about him mentioning the words democratic or socialist. He went with talking about the phrase, by the strength of our common endeavour, we achieve more than we do alone. Well, you've set a great many present and former members against you, Keir, so maybe you have achieved some unity in a strange way, but it's all against you, not with you. And this dreary document has hardened my resolve, certainly. You aren't fit to lead a damn thing. And I have a great many individuals at conference remember they can achieve much more together than alone. And ensure you're told that in no uncertain terms that we've all had enough of you. No ifs, no buts, no equivocation.